And I think I finally just fell out about, I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock last night. So we had plenty of sleep at 4 a.m. this morning, and now she's down for the count. She played and ate and did her business this morning. Good morning, y'all. This is Bullhorn Betty signing in to Thursday. Lots of stuff going on in the news. We're going to be touching base. Hey, Don, busy mama, Amy, MJ, Emma, One Sock, S Dot. It's nice to see you. Garrett, it's nice to see you. I know. Delilah's on her own thing. Brenda, good morning. I think it might have been you. I did get my package. It was so funny. I started heading to the because I collect my mail like a day late, at least that time I did. It's just because on Sundays to Mondays are hard. I've had it on the counter, but it was funny because I keep forgetting to tell you thank you for the coffee. And it when I went out to the mailbox, I could smell the aroma of coffee before I opened it. I had no clue. And as soon as I opened it, hit me like a ton of bricks, and I know what this is. I know what this is. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you all out here today. Good morning. ER Blue, Melanie, it's nice to see you. Sorry, my allergies are kicking. We got another storm coming. It is what it is. I forgot to take my allergy medicine, so you guys are going to have to suffer with me. Turtle Madness, good morning, my love. Sam, Icy Bama, Stacy, Sadie, it's nice to see you. Denise and Stacy, Wendy, good morning. Mary, it's nice to see you. Garrett says, find Sebastian. We're doing what we can do. We definitely are. Phil, it's nice to see you. Barb, Sonia's up awfully early. Well, good morning. Don't forget to tell your local Mod Squad member thank you. It's nice to see you all. Yes, Miss Delilah, she woke me up this morning. She kept wanting to put a shirt on. It was funny because I haven't had that Trump shirt on her for since the day after election. She wore it for 2 days. And so then she takes it yesterday morning when she wakes up and just tosses it at me. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess she wants it on. So I put it on, and it's like this morning she was fighting with me taking it off, and I'm like, it's dirty. I've got to get you something else on. So we got her in a cute little pink dress that says, oh my gosh, I'm too cute. I thought it was perfect. I'm having to fight with my dog to wash her clothes. Oh, she's such a cutie pie, though. What can I say? It's hard to wake up on the wrong side of the bed when you have this cute little thing looking at you and licking you. She's such a little baby. She loves it. Say hi. You want to say hi? You're awake. You're not sleeping. Say hi to everybody. Say, oh my gosh, I'm too cute. Look at that little baby. Say, I love being around my mommy. I cry when I'm not around her. I don't know. My best friend's like, so I went over to pick her up, and she's sitting there, and she's fine, but she's just awfully quiet. I haven't seen my best friend in, several days and stuff like that. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I'm just tired. And so we were starting to talk, and she started teasing me. She's like, I probably wouldn't be this tired if I didn't have a dog waking up at 5 a.m. I'm like, she slept that long for you? She was taking it easy on you. I thought she was going to throw a donut at me. Yeah, but she was good. She just whimpers when she's not around mommy. But don't worry, after this, because I don't know it's going to go on the 20th, otherwise I'd take her with me. And after this, she'll be with me full time. We're going to be going, if we leave anywhere, she's going to be going with me. She's got all her vaccines. She's walking on the leash. She's now getting to the point. I just got her a little bell for the door so she can start ringing it, because right now what she does is when she needs to go potty, she goes and sits on the potty pad. There's a potty pad. It hasn't been used. And she just sits on it. When I see her sit on it, I know she's got to go potty. I'm starting to think that she does it just to go outside sometimes. But for the most part, she's been spot on. When she goes and sits on the potty pad, I take her out. She goes and does her business. So I'm really enjoying that. She's trying to communicate with me. So it's nice. It's nice. She loves her mommy. She always wants to be such a good girl. I gotta tell you, this is one of the best damn dogs I've ever had. You know? I don't know what Vince went through with the dogs. He took care of the three dogs that we had. They were his. And I don't know how he trained them because I wasn't home. I was, working full time. I was going to my political events in all the spare time I had. And I was doing bookkeeping for our business at night. So I literally had no time. And our dogs were well behaved. But this is my first dog that I've had, from a puppy since like 25 years, And so I was really nervous. I was scared she was going to chew on my shoes because I got cords everywhere. Cords were a major thing for me when it came to Delilah because I got cords everywhere. And I'm like, am I going to have to start picking up my cords and putting them away, Because I got computer cords out in the living room. I got them in the kitchen. I've got them in the office. I got them here you never know where I'm going to go live from. So I've got cords literally everywhere. And I buy extra like cords for the computers and stuff, so I don't have to, hunt down cords, and they're everywhere I need them. And I even have, additional cords in my backpack that I take traveling with me. So if I lose the cord out there in the field, it doesn't affect anything in the house. I'm just weird like that, okay? So I was really worried about the cords. She doesn't chew cords. So she's just been just a sweet little girl that is just been just a blessing. She hasn't given me literally any problems. The worst problems we've had is her baby teeth aren't falling out, and I've got to have them removed. But that's not her fault. I mean, it's just her, that's just the way things go sometimes. And they say it's very common in Chihuahuas. So, that's really the only problem I've had. And it's not due to any behavioral problems. She's a very well-rounded puppy that just loves to be around mommy. And there she is. She says, hi, guys. So for the ones that are coming in, hi. I love my mommy. I wake her up way too early. Don't I? Yes, I do. I wake you up too early. Yes, you do. You do wake me up too early. My little baby. My little baby wavy. My little baby wavy. And she just wants to just be around mommy. Like I said, if she's around somebody and somebody holds her as much as I do, then she'll be perfectly fine. But she's such a good little girl. And she barks at the doorknob. The only way I get her to bark is either playing with her and moving my feet. Like, I got a cute little video of her yesterday. I'm like, do you want to go to Emily's? And she's like, she just kind of looks at me and stands. I said, do you want to go see your friend Emily? And she right? That's what she did. That's what she did. She said, she's such a cute little baby. I can't wait to see her get to a full-grown doggy. I bet she's going to be the best of the best of the best. She's definitely a great little crime fighter. She sits here with me and just works all day right next to me snoring while I'm working. Anyways, getting on to other things, Sebastian Rogers and other important news. We get so kind of caught up in a case or two that we kind of let things go by the wayside, and I try to inform the audience. So we're going to take just a few minutes to go over a couple different things. One's going to be political in nature, and it's just because it's getting a firestorm of people. Detective Delilah. A firestorm of people talking about this. Matt Gaetz, there's been a lot of people nominated by President-elect Donald J. Trump to be, of authority on certain matters. Pete Hegseth, I've met him. What a freaking great guy. He's very, very, very knowledgeable. He's got some really great ideas. People are dogging on him because he's Fox News. Bottom line is that man has fought in wars. He's highly decorated and highly educated. I mean, he has an education that goes right behind his great career in the military. And I think that he's got a strong head on him. He's been in this stuff and submerged in this stuff. But apparently it's the Matt Gaetz that's really getting under some people's skin, because Matt Gaetz was, I guess, under ethics. Everybody in Washington's under some form of ethics investigation. I mean, this is um, the crap that they deal with. And not only that, but like they were talking about him being in ST type of stuff. It's like those were unfounded claims, and why he's never been charged. It's because it's bullcrap, and we know this playbook, right? I mean, it's the same hate. I mean, our hate channels use the same playbook. It's all about smearing the person. They knew if something happened and Trump was elected, that Matt has been a good staunch supporter. He's been on the, I mean, he literally flies in the plane with Trump at times. I've seen him at Mar-a-Lago. I've spoken to him at Mar-a-Lago. I know he was eyeballing possibly becoming the governor. And I really want Byron Donalds. I haven't heard if Donald Trump has put Byron Donalds in there, but as far as Florida is concerned, I want Byron Donalds. I want Byron Donalds for our governor. If Byron Donalds isn't willing to run, I want Matt Gaetz. And now we've got Matt Gaetz that's going to be overseeing I think it's the FBI or whatever he's going to be. No, he's going to be the Attorney General. That's right, the Attorney General. And I think that that's going to be great. I mean, he is an attorney. I knew it was going to be a toss-up between Matt Gaetz and Pam Bondi, honestly. Pam Bondi's also flown in the plane with President-elect, and she's been a staunch supporter for Donald J. Trump as well. So those are things that I do know. I am kind of surprised at some of the picks. I honestly believe that Marco Rubio would never never meet the cut. I was literally floored and blown away that Marco Rubio got the cut. I was telling a friend on the way back, I said, they're like, do you think he's going to do? I said, Marco? Absolutely not. There's no way. So, but I've also seen, some other stuff. The other one is Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard. She was a prior Democrat from Hawaii that turned Republican, and she kind of walked away from her party. She's part of the walkaway camp. So, I think that the picks are wise, honestly. They're not establishment. They're people that are more in line with statesmen, which we talk about very, very, very limitedly on this channel, because we're not a political channel. We are a true crime channel. But at the end of the day, I really think that these are people that want to help the country and actually have the experience and knowledge to help do that. This idea that we have to take these establishment people, most of these people that are in the establishment honestly don't know their ass from a hole in the wall, because they're establishment. They only know what their side has done and it wants to do. We're talking about people that aren't politicians. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think if we move these career politicians out of the way, we might be able to get something done for this country. I really do. The people that are being put in place in many cases aren't career politicians. Some may say that Matt Gaetz is. I disagree in part. I disagree in part. I don't disagree fully, but I disagree in part. I try to be fair about it, but I like the guy. I've always liked the guy. And I think that this is going to be good. I think if we can get everybody just to give the president-elect what he wants, I have a funny feeling that this country will be so much better. Just my opinion. I know people don't like his commentary or some of the things that he says in Twitter. Let's face it, those things, that ship sailed a while ago. We don't see those things very much anymore. I don't think the banter is going to stop, but at the end of the day, I'm not here for the banter. I'm here for the policies that are going to allow me and the people around me to thrive. I don't have to like the person if I like their policies. And I think a lot of people have come to that conclusion as well, because let's face it, he would never have been able to win without people crossing over the lines, from, because he would need a portion of he would need the independents as well as the Democrats to push him over the line. So it sounds like even the mom and pops are saying, we've had enough. This is strangling us. It's clear that people need and want change, whether a lot of people disagree with that or not. The majority of this country have spoken, and they need change. They can't afford what has been created for us. The path forward under one camp is going to cause a lot more pain and suffering. Our children are the ones that are going to suffer from this. The American dream right now in the environment we're in for our children is gone. There's no way that they would be able to afford the life that is being created. I mean, heck, we've been working our entire lives and everything's been sucked out of us. We're at our busting point. The American people can't take any more. And I think that was clear in this election. But those are just my opinions. Those are my opinions about some of the members that he wants to nominate for certain positions. I really do believe that he's going to try very, very hard to get it right. And I think we're going to have I think the first thing we're going to see almost immediately is lower gas. I think that is a major piece in bringing a lot of the costs down, because once our gas prices are down, the shipping for wood, for all the materials that we have will start coming down. They're going to have to, because they're not spending those the exorbitant cost to fuel. So I think that having that come down almost immediately, I think that will save all Americans across the country, lots and lots of money right there, just on their own personal getting to and from work. If they travel for work, all these things, airfare, bus, everything's going to be a lot cheaper when the gas starts coming down. And that's going to help the truckers that bring supplies in, fruits, vegetables, meats. Those things will start coming down. You have your other stuff. I really think a lot of this is the gas prices. No, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I have to worry about if the gas prices don't come down. The last time he was in office, we had almost $4 a gallon of gas, and literally within, I think, months of his presidency, our gas significantly dropped. I mean, significantly, just boom, 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 boom. And I anticipate that being much of the case in this particular one. I know that the gas companies, the oil companies in our country are begging and waiting for the green light. Once they get the green light, the fuel in this country is going to be reopened, and it's going to bring a lot of our costs down. Ours was $1.34 a gallon when he was in office. Exactly. I remember ours here. It took me $20 to fill my gas tank. It takes me close to $50 right now to fill my gas tank. I think the most it took me to fill my gas tank was $26. So, this will help a lot. So that's just really all I wanted to say on that front. We've got a few other information here, and this is kind of like a buyer's beware. FBI says hackers are sending fraudulent police data requests to tech giants to steal people's private information. This is insane, because this is, impersonating law enforcement is not good. And we don't know where these people are coming from. Are they coming from the States? Or are they coming from overseas? And how difficult is it to prosecute people from, overseas that are doing this? I don't know. But this is very interesting, and it's something that should be worrisome to the public. So I wanted to bring this up. The FBI is warning that hackers are obtaining private user information, including emails, phone numbers, from U.S.-based tech companies by compromising government and police emails using to submit emergency data requests. The FBI public notice filed this week is a rare admission from the federal government about the threats from fraudulent emergency data requests, a legal process obtained to help police and federal agents obtain information from companies to respond to immediate threats affecting someone's life or property. This is something that would have probably been submitted, say, in the Sebastian Rogers case to help give them some information about, possible persons of interest or investigative tools. And those have been compromised. This is very, very important because we can't have that kind of stuff compromised. It could literally be life and death. So that's why that I picked this story up and wanted to bring it to all of you. The abuse of emergency data request is not new and has been widely reported in recent years. We've never heard it. Now the FBI warns that it saw an uptick around August in criminal posts, online advertising, access to or conducting fraudulent emergency data requests, and that it was going public for awareness. Cyber criminals are likely gaining access to compromised U.S. and foreign government email addresses and using them to conduct fraudulent emergency data requests to U.S.-based companies, exposing the personal information of customers to further use for criminal purposes, reads the FBI advisory. Police and law enforcement in the U.S. generally need some kind of legal justification to keep or obtain access to private data that companies store on their servers. Typically, a person's private content, like their files, emails, or messages. Police need to provide enough evidence of possible crime before a U.S. court will issue a search warrant, allowing the police to request that information from private companies. Police can issue subpoenas which don't require going to court, requesting companies to access limited amounts of information about users, such as their basic account information, username, account logins, email address, phone numbers, and sometimes their approximate location. There are also emergency requests, a procedure which law enforcement can urgently seek a person's information from a company in the event of immediate risk where there is no time to seek a court order. In these emergency requests that federal authorities say some cyber criminals are abusing. The FBI said in its advisory that it had several public posts made by known cyber criminals over 2023 and 2024 claiming access to email addresses by U.S. law enforcement and some foreign governments. The FBI says the access was ultimately used to send fraudulent subpoenas and other legal demands to U.S. companies seeking private user data stored on their system. Oh, thank you, Phil. Phil gifted one Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell Phil thank you. Thank you, Phil. The advisory said that the cyber criminals were successful in masquerading as law enforcement by using compromised police accounts to send emails and companies requesting user data. In some cases, the request cited false threats like claims of human T, and in one case that an individual was suffer greatly or be unalived unless the company in question returns the requested information. The FBI said the compromised access to LE accounts allowed the hackers to generate legitimate-looking subpoenas that resulted in companies turning over usernames, emails, phone numbers, and other private information about their users. But not all fraudulent attempts to file emergency data were successful, the FBI says. So there's definitely a problem. I'm not going to finish reading the rest of this article. You can find it on TechCrunch. If you're interested in learning about it, this is more of a buyer beware because, this is our information. This is information that could be sought about you. Lastly, before we get into some information related to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, I did want to go over some much needed information on a case that we've covered here extensively, and that's the Bryan Kohberger case, which was originally, and this channel dubbed, originally Idaho 4. So, which did end up getting picked up. Bryan Kohberger trial, victim's family like new judge, attorney says. The small college town of Moscow, Idaho became widely known 2 years ago for a tragedy from which it may never fully recover. On this date in 2022, 4 University of Idaho students, Kaylee Gonzalez, Maddie Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were brutally stabbed to death in their off-campus house, allegedly by a neighboring university PhD student, Brian Kohlberger. Their house on King Road, once a gathering spot, has since been demolished, and the trial for justice will take place 6 hours away in Boise. Shannon Gray, attorney for the family of victim Kaylee Gonzalez, joins News Nation's Banfield to discuss the anniversary. And I think that was, there's got to be something I was supposed to push. I guess that's it for that one. And then the Idaho judge who oversaw Brian Kohlberger's murder case is set to retire. The judge who was set to oversee the Moscow, Idaho murder trial of Brian Kohlberger before approving its move to Boise in September plans to retire. Judge John Judge sent a signed retirement letter last month notifying the state of his intent, a copy of which the Idaho Statesman obtained from the state court system. After extensive contemplation, I have decided it's time for me to retire, Judge wrote in a one-page letter dated October 4th. It's been a journey of hard work, challenges, life lessons, sacrifice, joy, satisfaction, and sometimes frustration, heartbreak. Judge, who will turn 69 next month, referenced his 40-year-long career, which included 24 years as a lawyer and 16 years as a judge. He has been in his current district judge role for the past 6 years, which include about 15 months spent handling Brian Kohlberger's case. Judge announced his last day as of January 17th. I have done my best to follow the rules of law while never forgetting the importance of compassion and understanding of the people before me every day, their humanity and their struggles, Judge wrote. I will miss what judges can do for people and the community we serve. It's been a privilege and an honor to be a judge. Kohlberger is accused of the November 2022 fatal stabbing of 4 University of Idaho students at a house near campus in Moscow. The victims, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, of Rathdrum, Idaho; Madison Mogan, 21, of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho; Xana Kernodle, 20 years old, of Post Falls, Idaho; and Ethan Chapin of Mount Vernon, Washington. Kohlberger was arrested in December 2022 in Pennsylvania and flown to Idaho in early January 2023 to face the charges. Judge took over Brian Kohlberger's case in May 2023 and played diplomat between attorneys, as well as offering occasional levity at hearings. Earlier this year, an expert witness for the defense said he just learned the judge in the case had the last name that sounded like he was born for the position. On cue, Judge interjected and smirked, coincidence. Judge first appeared in the national spotlight for Kohlberger's arraignment at the Latah County Courthouse a week after a local grand jury indicted Kohlberger. When the judge asked Kohlberger's plea for 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglar, Kohlberger remained silent. Judge entered a not guilty plea on Kohlberger's behalf and scheduled his trial for October 2023. Judge later rescheduled Kohlberger's trial to start June 2025. In September, Judge granted the defense's new request for a venue change out of Moscow based on concerns over potential local jury bias because of the case's widespread publicity. At a hearing over the issue, Judge called the choice probably professionally and the most difficult decision I've ever had to make. The small courthouse in Moscow presented safety and logistical challenges to hosting the trial. Judge wrote in his decision, on top of media coverage that had been sensationalized and prejudicial to Kohlberger and threatened his right to a fair trial. The judge's handling of the case, including his decision to move the trial, drew criticism from at least one victim's family. On several occasions, the Gonzalez family took issue with what they perceived as repeat delays to bring the case to trial. The family has always felt the judge favored the defense, and was a common theme that whatever the defense wanted or needed, they got. I do agree with that, but there's a reason for that, and I understand the reason. The Gonzalez said in a September statement through their attorney, if the judge knew Latah County could not handle the trial for safety reasons, not enough court clerks, logistics, and lacked space, why did he waste over a year in the county he knew was not going to handle the trial? The only thing good about this decision is will be Judge's last decision in this case, the Gonzalez family statements. Gonzalez family's statement added. In his Koberger venue change ruling, Judge chose not to continue with the case and handed off a selection of the trial location and Judge's reassignment to the Idaho Supreme Court. The justices selected Boise and Judge Steve Hippler of Idaho's 4th Judicial District in Ada County. Hippler reset the trial for later next summer, starting jury selection July 30th. In his retirement letter, Judge said he also chose not to apply to be a senior judge, which allowed judges to stay on with a limited caseload. Even though it was a difficult choice, its time is precious and limited, he wrote. What's more important now is being able to spend more time with my family, the judge's letter read. I also hope to pursue some of my other interests, like time in the mountains and reading books that have nothing to do with the law. So it sounds like the judge is checked out. This had to have been a very difficult case. One of the reasons why the judges try to favor the defense as much as possible is their main goal is to limit the appeals that could be coming their way after the trial. And I think he did a very good job on doing that. Could he have been a little stricter? Yes. But all it would have caused is Ann C. Taylor just to file more motions until she argued her point. So I do believe that he has been fair personally, but I'm not the families. I'm not the ones that have to witness this. I'm not the ones that have to walk through this with my heart just completely, exploded in my chest. That's what the families have to do. And we know Steve Gonzalez has been an outspoken advocate for his daughter and her friend Maddie, as well as the other two, Xander Kernodle and Ethan Chapin, even though he does not speak on the other family's behalf. He loved his daughter. He loved her best friend. He loved her best friend's family. It sounded like they were one big family, and just cared a lot about each other. And this was devastating to both families. And Steve just wanted to know what the heck happened. And quite frankly, he wants to know about this monster. And is he responsible? Do they have what it takes to lock him away for the rest of his life or give him the DP? It's a lot. And judges, they have to be up there and internalize this stuff. Think about it. They can't really make judgment on what they're seeing until it's presented at trial. They're having to, play babysitter between the plaintiff and the defendant, or the state and the defendant. They have a lot on their shoulders, and they don't want to rule inappropriately and have an issue appealed. So, and delay the case further. So those are things that could have happened, and I really do think that he was trying to manage all that, and that was very tough for somebody in his position to do. This was a high-profile case. There was a lot of media attention, garnered for that judge. A lot of people probably in some of the rulings highly upset. The judge had to deal with all that and had to still go in there and be courteous to the people, including the prosecution and the defendant in which he serves. He's a public servant. Any judge that just has a chip on their shoulder when they're ruling over cases should not be a judge. Okay, point blank, period. They are public servants. They should be treating, no matter how they feel about certain things, they can be tough and still treat the people that they serve with respect. And I think, in the most part, there are judges that get that. But there are still, I mean, we've all seen it, the disgruntled judges that always seem to have a chip on their shoulder and treat their community like pure crap, like they're beneath the judge. That's not how judges act. That's not how judges should act. I've met a few that were like that, and my statement to them is, you don't need to be a judge. If you can't treat your public better than that. And that was what was really good about John C. Judge. No matter what he had to deal with, he still treated everybody in that court with respect. He still kept a calm, cool, and collective, persona, even though I'm sure this case affected him. I mean, he probably has children or grandchildren the same age as these people, these kids. I'm sure it affected him just like it affects all of us. But they're not living it like the Gonzalez, and it's been very difficult. And I can understand the position of the Gonzalez family and any other family that's dealing with this. I get it. We watch it so much. So those are kind of all the updates that I thought that you guys would be interested in this morning before we kind of got into Sebastian's case. And I've been reading, a lot here on my emails and stuff like that. We've gotten away from, answering for the emails that we're getting. So I figured we'd go through some of the emails. This is one last story that I wanted to show you. I haven't looked into this. Maybe somebody might want to take the ball and dribble it. But this kind of was sent to me by one of our audience members. And it's, if true, is very concerning, and something needs to be done.
Good morning, Tick.
Well, hi.
Literally going out to everybody on this fucking app. Like, literally every motherfucker.
I apologize for her language.
There was a girl running through the streets. I've got the video saved. In Crab Park, Vancouver, Canada, screaming that there are people in shipping containers. That you can hear these people screaming. Why in the flying fuck is this app not blowed the hell up with people demanding for this shit? I'm in Mississippi, and I want them fucking containers open today. Not tomorrow. Kamala Harris, where you at, bitch? This is your job. Get them open. This is why we put you out of office. Get them containers and get that people over there and find out who is in those containers. It's not recordings. It is human lives, and it is the missing people of the United States of America. This is literally going out there.
So they believe that this lady believes that there's missing people from the United States, and they're in these shipping containers. Now, I've heard little rumblings in Vancouver, but that's a different country than the United States. But if somebody wants to grab the ball and run with that case, please do. Good morning, Seth. Good morning. I hope you're doing well this morning. We've just been going over a couple of different things. So we have this. This is another comment from a person in email. And so this is what it says. It says L.E., the stepfather, the step-grandparent, it says, L.E. has been caught in lies. So has the stepfather. How do we know how long this call is, or if this call is the truth? Because they say so. I don't believe the call took place, not anymore. The stepfather is the one who brought the call up and pushed it by saying L.E. already has documentation. The whole point to this long conversation is to establish an alibi, in my opinion. He could have been there and woke her up, had the car parked at the construction site and walked home, entered from the back. Wouldn't surprise me if the step-grandfather helped. Maybe been the father and the step-grandparent, the step-grandfather, coming out with the flashlights. The stepfather going back, perhaps doing this while Katie, or the mom, was asleep. The step-grandfather or the stepfather leaves out the back and walks to the construction site. Well, in this, I just want to clarify this, and one of the reasons why I started is I believe that the call, because I do believe that law enforcement said something about it somewhere, but maybe they did not. So the question about the call, is it true? Is it not true? The length of the call, it's now being called into question, at least by this audience member. And as far as parking in the construction site, I've always wondered if there was a secondary car somewhere around there. And here's why. Because when we hear the Miss Bobby interview, which we just ended yesterday, she said something that I pointed out yesterday, but I had not really thought about it beforehand. And it was, the car pulled up and sat there for 3 to 5 minutes. Nobody ever said they saw anybody get out of that vehicle. Yet, these light sources came from inside the house to the vehicle. Then the vehicle left. One of the light sources went toward the home, and that was all she wrote, so to speak. So is it possible that somebody picked somebody up and took them to a secondary car? I mean, these are all probable, these are all possible things that could have happened, but it's still all speculative because nobody really knows wholeheartedly whether that happened. Now, drives back to RV, waits for the mom to call about Sebastian missing. Sound possible? There's more. Then mom and stepfather phone being used that night, the people waiting in the SUV. I've been thinking about the cave that took a hit but was completely dismissed by police because they said it was unsafe. Where is the cave? Could Sebastian have been taken there and left? No one would ever find him there if he had been there. No one will be looking there. Think about it. Think about what the stepfather keeps saying. Sebastian will never be found. Police don't bring him in. If somebody else was heard talking that way over a missing child, they were responsible for. They would have to have been brought in for questioning. What do you think of this theory? It's a theory, nonetheless, and it could be. There's a lot of questions because we have so many questions around the lights video that will never be answered until somebody is taken to trial. So we're left to our own devices, i.e. our brains, and what all this information means to each of us individually, and how do we apply that to the case. So in this instance, we don't have the ability to see any other vehicle. We only have the ability to see what was in the video, and that was a definitely a vehicle. And the light sources are going to that vehicle, and they're going to that vehicle before trash trucks come into the community, before the mother leaves the driveway, and then ultimately the school bus comes through the community, followed by a large presence of law enforcement. So we know that there's something funky with the 3-hour phone call. We just don't really know what. And we have speculated what it could mean, from the drive home to the drive back to a bunch of different, possibilities of what that 3-hour call could mean. We just know that something doesn't sound right with it. At the end of the day, that is really at least the basic conclusion we can come to when it comes to the 3-hour call, is that it doesn't sound right to us. We in our brains can't make it fit. It's one of those things, when something seems odd, it draws you to it. And this is one of the things that seem odd, because prior to the statement from the stepfather, we're in a public statement nonetheless, we were under the impression that this child went to bed at 9 p.m., that at 10 p.m. the mom fell asleep on the couch, and about 11:30, right before midnight, the mom woke up and went to bed. That's kind of what we knew. And then we get this bomb kind of dropped in the middle of our understanding of what happened. My math ended at, well, yeah, it's about, it's almost 2 hours, I think, 2.5 hours or something like that. It was at, so it was close to 2 hours long. I think people were saying 9 to midnight, 3 hours, but it really wasn't a 3 hour conversation. It was an extended conversation. I agree with that. And we know that the call came in at 9:43. The reason why I do believe the call did happen is because it sounds like somebody from law enforcement spoke to them about that and probably had the very specific time and said, well, didn't you receive a call at 9:43 and stay on the phone? So it just seems a little odd for me. I do believe that the phone call does exist, and I believe he tried to explain it away publicly before it became public. I think he was worried at that time that the information would be public, and he was trying to get ahead of it and kind of told on himself. That's really what my theory kind of bodes in with, more than it didn't happen at all. But I guess there is a possibility that it didn't happen at all because it's something that wasn't corroborated by law enforcement, and it was something that only the mom and stepdad discussed. So unless somebody has independent, verifiable information from law enforcement that it truly did happen, then I guess we could say that it's possible that it didn't. But I think because it's been talked about so much publicly by both the mother and the father, or the mother and the stepfather, I think that it is true. It truly did happen. But again, it doesn't fit in because we were told the mom went to sleep at 10 p.m. It makes it very difficult to fall asleep in 13 minutes when you're on the phone with your significant other and just got on the phone with a significant other. And what person is going to sit on the phone on a dead line while you're studying and not talking? It just doesn't seem plausible. I mean, I've been on the phone with people that didn't talk very much, and they still communicate, but that conversation didn't last for, more than a few minutes. It definitely didn't go into the hours of listening to nothing but dead air. So that's why a lot of people, in my opinion, have a problem with that whole section of time, because when you kind of break it down, it just doesn't mesh together. It's too confusing, and life just isn't normally like that. Would she be studying and falling asleep while she's studying? Yeah, I've been to college. It's happened to me. Heck, I'm here researching. I've told you a number of times how many times I'm sitting here researching and didn't even realize I fell asleep researching until I woke up, But that does happen. But I've never been on the phone with someone when that has happened. And if I had been on the phone with somebody that's happened to, I would have most likely hung up the phone, or somebody would have hung up the phone with me. So that's where it gets a little confusing. You're on the phone for 13 to 17 minutes, and your significant other on the other end of the phone just falls asleep on you, and you're still on the phone and wake them up an hour and a half later. I mean, when you break it down and you listen to what they're actually saying, that's where the confusion sets in my opinion, related to that particular topic, and why people have a hard time believing. I either believe she was on the phone talking to him the entire time, which we're probably going to end up finding out is true, versus falling asleep. Just my wholesome opinion of the situation. Also, coming from another watcher here, this is something that is making its way around. So, crime sleuthing had a few years ago, I think it was in 2022, tried to pass off this alleged conversation that her and I had, or something like that. I can't even remember what it was. And so it sounds like she took a whole bunch of little clips off lives, pitched it down so you could barely hear it, and then chopped it up because you could hear the seams in the calls where the stuff was chopped up. people laughed her out of the chat rooms, 2 years ago, because people that do this knew it was manufactured, knew that it was stitched together. And I have to only assume that that's what's going on now, that's kind of rearing its ugly head, and people once again still aren't believing it. So I don't know. That lady I just stay away from. She's not good she's not true crime. She's not good. We were working with her for the Kylie Rodney case, and she was recording, like when we were doing, trying to put the case together and analyzing and stuff like that. Like, she was recording those. Nobody was recording those. She never produced those, but those were the stuff that she was recording of both me and Chronicles of Olivia. That's really shady. When I work with people, the last thing I'm doing is recording our conversations that we're having about a case. To me, that just showed how slimy she was, even when we were working a case. And nobody on these streets have very much respect for her. She's a basket case. She's got some major issues going on with her. And I wish she would just either do her thing or just leave the true crime community. But it's not for me to decide. To each their own. Everybody has the right to be here, but they don't have the right to manufacture stuff and lie, without being called out. And so it sounds like people are, because of the prior one, I think people already knew it was smoke and mirrors. But I know for the new people that have never seen it, it's just that. If you listen to the audio, you'll hear it's all choppy, it's all seamed together. It's absolutely it's just manufactured. I don't know what else to say. Sebastian's Army. Hi, buddy. I don't want to read that. I'm a huge supporter of you and Sebastian's Army. I've been following this case since March. I have come to so many conclusions and speculations in my opinions about this whole case. For a while now, I've had the conclusion that him being taken from the house was planned, and it was planned out very well. In my opinion, the stepfather had organized some type of taking of Sebastian from the home. I truly believe someone does have him, and they are hiding him. I know that there was problems finding scent when dogs came to the home to search for Sebastian the day he was called in missing. I've had something on my mind and wanted to reach out to you to put it out there if you'd like. I think that there is no trace of him leaving the house because obviously he did not leave the house with his own shoes and socks on. Point taken, his shoes or socks. I truly believe he was wearing somebody else's shoes and somebody else's socks. And then that part it looked like the conversation got cut off because they put it in the subject line and not into the body, so it got cut off. From my understanding, all other shoes for other people in that home were accounted for. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it was stated multiple times that all shoes for the household were accounted for. But just wanted to throw that out there in case somebody else had the same type of opinions. And there's one other one that I wanted to... And this is it, and then we'll kind of have a discussion. We're at the top of our show today anyways. We will be back with a little more on this case and other cases this afternoon as I do videos throughout the day as well. And I have a hearing tomorrow that I've got to prepare for, so I'm not sure. Today will be kind of a hit and miss day, but I wanted you guys to see this.
Re-interview and vet everyone that had contact with Sebastian, looking for any inconsistencies, and they are asking the public to provide any ring camera videos, not just from Sunday night when they believe.
I'm not crazy about
anything suspicious of much earlier in
the voice. It's too far out. Sorry guys, I'm trying to put the platform down.
sorry person, Chris, but you're not the actual victim.
You start targeting these folks and blasting their information. So no, I'm not by any means am I saying do this. I'm not about this. But if it happened to them,
It's happened to me for 3 years.
problems and chaos, it gets to the point where going to public is sketchy at best, because you're gonna have people staring at you, and have people that want to be near you. I mean, and it's sad because it's like, you know the truth. You know the things that you know that can't be said, and you just wait.
Can't be said.
You know, one, two things are gonna happen. If I can get an answer, and we're gonna move forward. Or two, we're gonna be right in that same pool with Summer Wells and the rest of his families.
No,
Years go by, we have no answers.
in my opinion, I think that's what you hope for, not answers.
Very good what you're talking. I think everybody has to understand something. I didn't say I'm not upset with you. I didn't say that.
Why would you be upset with Seth?
Why I said I'm not bashing you. Yeah. When Seth is ready to sit down and have a conversation, and that conversation would be something between me, him, and Katie, and nobody else. In that conversation, we will have to air out some differences. But I will say this, the likely odds of him and Katie sitting down, I don't see that possibly happening, honestly, just because she is a mom, the mother to his son.
I don't.
I just don't see it happening. Yeah.
From what I'm understanding,
That I don't understand, because there's a lot of mothers that sit down in situations like this directly with the father of their child. So I don't understand that statement. I know that for a fact, an absolute fact. So I don't know what that has anything to do with why they can't sit down together.
you Proudfoots won't talk to Seth.
Do I agree what they're doing is correct? No, I don't. Not at all. I'm not condoning it. However, what it is doing though is it does keep Sebastian's situation, not Sebastian's name, situation in the forefront. So it's not necessarily allowing the case to go completely cold, but yes, a lot of people have pulled back from what I've heard. A lot of the drama, a lot of the they said it's a lot of mental stress, honestly. And I understand that. But I'm begging and I encourage people to please take the drama away, cool. But just don't forget that it is a 15-year-old autistic child that we are all looking for. He's our son. He is. For Sumner County, he's almost like a Sumner County child. It's the whole thing.
Well, I guess fortunately for everyone else, Chris is not our boss. He might be Katie's, but not ours. Where is Sebastian Rogers?
So I thought that was a pretty cool video. That was put out by Shay Space.
Good evening, good evening.
That was a Shay Safe Space, I think is the name of the actual content, or the content creator, Shay Safe Space. And I thought that was put together pretty good. So I saw that. Somebody had sent that to me this morning and thought I would show each and every one of you. I totally disagree. I do think he said something about, there's just things that they can't say. And I believe that. There's a lot of things that can't be said. Not because law enforcement told them not to, is I just truly believe that if they said what they know, there might be some heavy consequences to it. I really do. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. Still living in America, the last time I checked. So that is what it is. Obviously, this channel is not alone. It sounds like there's, some odd, Vinnie Politan is speaking out, about his feelings on the case. Nancy Grace has spoken out about her feelings on the case. umpteen different professionals that have done this for a living have spoken out about their experiences and what they believe on this case, and none of them are boding very well. The professionals are not boding very well in the mom and stepdad's behavior and storyline and everything, and they're putting it under the microscope themselves. Obviously, local media is not. They have more at stake than, say, national media. So you don't really get the investigative reports, the hard-hitting investigative reports from the local media in Hendersonville, Tennessee. There's a lot of reasons for that. They are being controlled by law enforcement and what they are allowed or not allowed to say. These national conglomerates, they could give a rat's patootie about some Sumner County Police Department. They want the truth. They're saying things aren't smelling right, things aren't looking right, and we're trusting them. We're trusting their assessment. We're trusting an intelligence company that's working around the clock to find information. At Night Intelligence Agency is working around the clock to find information. We're trusting them. We're trusting the people that are actually getting off their butts to find the truth. There's nobody in this world that can prevent somebody from moving freely in this country and locating the truth. That's how the freedom of press works in the United States of America. Government cannot control this. Okay? So a lot of people have spoken up about this case. We've had the Lore Lodge, and do a deep dive into this case. We've had many professionals that do this stuff for a living that have, that used to once have badges on their chest. Okay? They're standing up and speaking up. So there's a lot of people that really don't believe the story. Now, the outcome might be different from person to person. For example, there's no evidence that any hair on this child's head has been hurt. There's evidence that something happened outside of the house with a vehicle. That's a possible way to remove this child from the home and remove that child from the community. Doesn't mean that child's hurt. For many of us, I read between the lines and say, this is not normal. People don't get picked up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Parents don't lie about what they've done and where they've been. People that are, say 3.5 hours away have no need to be the only one with a secret timeline when everybody else, all the two other parties that are associated with the case have all but told everybody what their alleged alibis were. So a lot of things that are going on are what's making us feel that something bad may have happened. The length of time is another probability in that factor, is another direct result of that factor. Nobody has seen this child, no hide nor hair, nobody, dealing with him having a meltdown and doesn't know what to do anymore and needs to send him back home. There's no prescriptions being filled for this young man. So it kind of eliminates a medical type of facility taking care of him, because there would be, if he was in a medical facility, you've got insurance paperwork, payment paperwork, medications to fill. That stuff is really hard to hide. That's digital footprints that can be easily found. Very difficult to hide those footprints. And there's nothing. We've just got parents that are ready to get on with their life. They've already chalked this up in 8 months that this is going to turn into a Summer Wells case, and they're not going to know for years to come. So they have to go ahead and move on. That's the explanation that you just heard on Shay's Safe Space. It's just time for them to move on. So those are types of things that really cause the rest of people like us, especially when we look at our own children. Or for me, I don't have a child to look at. I got a Delilah. And I keep thinking what I would be willing to do to find my dog. And this is my dog, not my child. And I would move heaven or earth to locate where Delilah was, if, say, for any reason she got loose. She was trafficked, doggy trafficking. It's a big thing, And she got jailed. She went to the hospital, doggy hospital, doggy jail. I'm taking, a little less of road. But what I would do, you guys all have animals. Most of you have animals when your children are gone. What would you be willing to do to find your beloved animal? That's an animal. It's not even a human being. I know some of us like our animals a lot more than we like our human beings, but this is a child, not like an a-hole. Just saying. Hey, Yada, it's nice to see you, my love. So I don't see us just moving on with life and ready just to move on after 8 months when we really haven't even given it a real try to locate, right? We've watched who they've associated with and the abysmal failures that they've got on their team. So how are they really putting forth effort? It seems like they're putting forth all the people that are willing to destroy and hurt the reputations of the people really working around the clock to try to find answers. They're trying to ham me up. They're trying to ham Nick the Hat up. And we have to remember Nick the Hat has brought in a hell of a lot more resources than we could ever even have imagined. Okay, the man's a good guy. He's here for the right reasons. He wants to find this boy. He's not taking no for an answer. He is, just working. His company is working. Dog the Bounty Hunter is working. We're working. And I know you guys are too, because every day my email is filled up to its absolute max with emails from you guys, reading stuff, always keeping Sebastian top of mind. That is the beauty of social media in the true crime genre, because we have so many tentacles out there watching all different stuff. And the great thing is you guys are all interested in different things. So, I do get a few duplicated emails from people, multiple people watching the same thing and sending it to me. That's how I know that there's something in there to look at. So I like it. But you guys are working too. And you guys know how hard you're working to find answers for Seth and the family to locate Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. So just keep up the great work. We're moving heaven and earth to try to find this young man. He will be found. He will be found. And we have to put that out there in this atmosphere. The positive vibes of he will be found, because he will be found. He didn't just disappear. It's finding out what happened. When we figure out what happened, hopefully it'll locate us directly to where Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is. I pray to God we bring him home and bring him home safely and swiftly. It's been over 9 months, or damn near close to 9 months. And this child needs to be brought home. He needs to be placed with his father, and they need to move on with their life. And this whole nightmare that they've been living in needs to end. It needs to end sooner than later. So that's what we're advocating for today, guys. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is out there, and we need to find him. So please don't stop the emails. Please don't stop watching channels. Please don't stop sending stuff to people to make sure that we can have a fighting chance for the safe return of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And please, please, please stay off these horrible channels that get nothing right, that are only here to manufacture and disseminate false and misleading information about these cases in an effort to help the people responsible for where we're at. We've got to stop supporting them financially, and we've got to stop supporting them with our views, because that's telling them every time they see those view numbers go up, they're doing something right. Keep on going. When we remove those views, you'll see them change their attitude very quickly. If we want the drama out, then kick the drama out. You guys are in control, not me. So let's put the control back into your hands, and you guys start praying about this and figuring out what you want to do. Is it worth it to you to look under that hood? I can tell you and promise you that people are monitoring these channels already, so we don't need hundreds of people going over there to check to see if they can find any information to report back. We do have people already taking care of all of that. So let me just save you guys the stress and the anxiety of dealing with their BS. There's no need to. You're welcome. Your day has been lifted. You can have a happy and bright day, and you don't need anything weighing you or dragging you down. What we do need is to locate and find any information that will help bring Sebastian home, any information about people or potential people responsible for his disappearance. We have analyzed this case, and it is my opinion that this child didn't just walk out of this house. This child was not abducted. This is not a third-party stranger danger situation. Even if he's missing, even if this is a custodial thing, again, it's not from a third party. It's from people that knew this child. Statistics are proving right in this case. So let's follow the statistics, look at the statistics, understand what they mean, and that's where your research should begin. So, all right, guys, I love you. God bless. Thanks for hanging out with me ridiculously early. I've got several videos. I've got some stuff to put together. I will be up and at it here shortly, but since I was already up doing research, and of course our baby Delilah is laying here all so peacefully and quietly and lovingly, we're going to stay here while she's good and calm and, not running around the house and tearing her toys all to, what. So for those that are just coming in, if you guys haven't had your dose of our beautiful crime fighter Delilah, here's your beautiful dose of our crime fighter. She is the mascot of the Bullhorn Betty channel. And she loves you all just as much as she loves me. Nah, she loves me more. You gonna say hi? Say hi, everybody. I love my mommy. I love my mommy, and she spoils me. She is so sweet. She's so sweet. She just says, she's a little camera shy. She's like, I want my warm spot back, mommy. I want my warm spot back. And she goes right to the thing. She does a little turny thing, and then she gets herself setted. Oh, yeah, I mean, you're a beautiful girl. She is beautiful. She's cute. She's cute. All right, I'll admit that Justin for All's, monkey is really, really adorable. But I wanted a crime-fighting dog, not a crime-fighting monkey. Just saying. I do love my baby. I do love my baby. And she's spoiled rotten. And I know she's about to go over to my best friend's house for when I go up to Tennessee. It's going to be cute. Delilah wakes up a little earlier than most people would imagine. She's ready to rock and roll, and then she's ready to crash. After she gets you all up and awoke, then she wants to go lay down. Go figure, right? Kids. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Don't forget, $175,000 is being offered for any information leading to the safe return of Sebastian Wayne Rogers or the successful prosecution of those involved with his disappearance. We are fighting an uphill battle. This child has not been found again, or has not been found since he disappeared. And I need, if you guys put stuff out there to law enforcement and law enforcement didn't get back to you, please consider reaching out or emailing Dog's team. It doesn't hurt for a second opinion or somebody to look into something that was previously reported to law enforcement that went nowhere. If you believe that it is something very important that was overlooked, please, 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 I'm asking and begging you to reach out to 833-TELL-DOG or to their email. I think it's manhunts at, oh crap. I don't remember what the email is. Hold on. Need to give you guys the right stuff. The right stuff. Wasn't that a song? Leave it to Betty. Okay, here it is. It is, if you guys would prefer emailing, the emailing is most wanted at manhunts, manhunts.one. So it's manhunts.one, but one is spelled out. So most wanted at manhunts.one. So if you do have something and you don't want to make the call, please consider now they did say you can remain anonymous. If you want to remain, all tipsters will remain anonymous, and there's also tips at manhunts.one. So you can do most wanted at manhunts.one or tips at manhunts.one. But the object of this is, if you have some information, please send it in, okay? Even if you've reported it to law enforcement in the past, please consider, calling and giving the same lead to the team so they have that information and can follow it through. As you know, in the latest post we went over last night, Nick the Hat has provided some information, so he's informing the public on what he can inform them on. There's still a massive amount that goes to the integrity of the investigation that can't be disclosed at this time and may never be disclosed. It'll be sent to law enforcement. So please send that stuff in. I can promise you they are taking this case very, very, very seriously, and they are truly following every single lead until it either is it's not founded or it needs further investigation. So even though these things are taking a long time to field and stuff like that, they're doing what they can, and they're doing it as quickly as they can. So please send that stuff over at your earliest convenience. If you have some information, don't keep it a secret. If you have videos from that community that you feel it wasn't taken seriously, or you feel has some information, send that off to them by email. Let them see it. Anything that you guys have, send it over. They really are taking this case seriously. There hasn't been a whole lot of movement. In hell, if it was left up to Sumner County Sheriff's Department, this case would be cold. Well, we can't allow that to happen. We have wrapped this channel and wrapped our arms around Seth, and Seth wants to find his son. And you know what? We all have the same goal as Seth. So let's bring his son home. God bless.